Right, good morning, guys. Okay, so a little bit late starting today because the kids had a sports day this morning. Sounds like we've got the same again tomorrow because they've separated them out into juniors and infants. So got Jacobs tomorrow, so it'll be again another late start tomorrow, unfortunately. Morning, Bunker. How we doing? Today I am actually working on something a little bit different, a little bit unusual. I've been doing some skeletal dwarves. So I'm planning a little Kickstarter, which is actually going to be an entire army. So a little Kickstarter. Because I've always thought that necromancers are a little bit racist. I jest, of course, but every every skeleton and zombie you ever see is always human. So I'm going to be doing some elf and dwarf and maybe orc skeletons and zombies. So you've got something to mix up your table with. Oh, yeah. That should be smoothing out a lot more than that. Why is that not doing it properly? Doing it, but it's not smoothing as much as it should do. Oh, that's why. Stupid. Turned off the Z, which means it was adding polygon or changing the polygon surface because of dynamic tessellation, but it wasn't actually smoothing anything out because it wasn't going to change anything other than the colour, of which there was none. How are we doing today, Bunker? Anyway, you been up to much, mate? I wouldn't normally bother doing all of this. Oh, the Stormcast Dragon. Nice. I wouldn't normally bother doing all of this bit, but there's a good chance, being skeletons, that we're going to actually get inside the armour a little bit at times. I'm not going to hollow it all the way through, but just enough to give it the indication of it. There we go. I'm going to do this coming a bit more. Ah, right, cool. Where is he? What's he up to today? You're not on his own stream today? How are you doing, Mike? Hope you're keeping well today, matey. Oh, I forgot to message you yesterday, but the Resplendent files are in your folder, so you should be able to just grab them anytime. Right, let's just streaming since 5:30. Why the madman? Ouch. Braver man than me. Okay, so little stocky dwarf skeleton with an axe and a shield. It's going to add a belt. This is just a template model, by the way. This isn't going to be an actual thing. Let's get the So you say Mike's been streaming on Kickstarter? I thought you had to have an actual Kickstarter. Had to have an actual Kickstarter campaign to be able to kind of stream to. Have they changed something up on the platform, have they? Oh, just kick. Oh, it's not Kickstarter then. Better than Twitch? Who knows yet? It's got to be better for the streamer if Mike's looking at it instead of as an option. Yeah, it's one of them could go anywhere, isn't it? Because at one point I used to stream to a platform called Trovo as well. But my link kept dying on my Streamlabs. So it was like I was multi-streaming there. And my Streamlabs feed connection keeps dying out on that one. You can never seem to re-establish it, so I just stopped bothering in the end. But I mean, I think my plan early doors was to stream to all the platforms and see which one works out the best, but get most chat through Twitch for the most part, but then YouTube's quite good as well now. Like, we're getting a bit more engagement through YouTube, which is good. But yeah, if there's other ones to have a look at and other places to stream to, I'll have a look and see. I'll have a little mooch at Kick and see what it's all about. Right, so 70-20, mate. Who gets the extra 10? Well, I'll give Mike a shout later and see what he thinks. Yeah, YouTube don't affiliate you until you've got like a massive number of followers. Though is the only problem. Like, for me to be able to start monetizing YouTube, I'd need like I want to say it's like 1,000 viewers a stream or something like that. It gets high, man. For a live stream at least. The live streaming thresholds are massive, and I don't think I can monetize the stream until I've got. Hey, Kev, how we doing, matey? How are you today? Yeah, that's it. It's not really achievable, is it, for what we do, what they want, what they expect. Come on, we'll just save it. That's twice I've lost this bloody thing now. Oh no, I saved it. 2 hats on, Kev. What are they, mate? What you up to today, then? Right, give me a second, guys. I'm just going to go and try and find my chainmail brush and see where I put it. Oh, it is where it's supposed to be. But yeah. So you buffing and polishing everything. the old wet paint smell for the important visit. You got that old joke, haven't they? Everywhere the Queen went, everything smelled like fresh paint. Oh, I can see it now. There it is. See, I've been thinking as well lately, should I be doing more, like less in the way of live streams and more in the way of just videos? That makes sense. Like when I'm doing these sculpts, I've got the recording for it. You know, should I be doing a like a talk over explaining what's going on and things like that, rather than having the, you know, 6-hour stream online as my only content? So I think obviously that's going to put a lot of people off wanting to watch, isn't it? Just like having to watch through 6 hours of footage where I'm chatting bollocks. I still need to do the live streams though, because it keeps me sane. But should I be spending a bit of time editing up the videos as well? You know what I mean, for viewing purposes and stuff, to make it more watchable. You reckon that's what to do then, is it? Cut them down into minute-long videos. Probably it's a massive time lapse, isn't it, to go down to that kind of shorter video. Morning, Chaz on Facebook. How are you doing? And Max, thanks for the like, matey. Where are we at? Mirror world. Let's group that whole thing first. Rainbow chainmail. It is, mate, if I do that. I mean, it's very topical for June, isn't it, I suppose? You know, Pride Month and all that. Let's embrace it. What are you up to today, Chaz? Keeping busy? So I add this guy a little skirt. A little chain skirt. Yeah, it's not been. The weather's a little bit bleak here at the moment as well. I've just been to the kids' sports day and it was raining on the way down there. You know, you're kind of thinking, oh, you know, all these weeks of sun we've had, and the day the kids are going to be running up and down a field while we've all got to stand and watch them, it starts to rain. Oh, nice, mate. I didn't know you got into like logo design and stuff. I'll have to tap you up in the future if that's your thing. Yeah. At least it was only a morning this time though. When I was a kid it used to actually be the whole day. Yeah, it was nice, to be fair. It was. I'd rather do that. Last year's sports day it was about 35 degrees or something stupid like that. We were all sweating buckets trying to watch it, and the kids were just wilting. So it was definitely better being cooler today, for sure. Do my painstaking chainmail. I want this to be a little bit irregular. It doesn't have to be too perfect on this one because it's going to be. I'm going to remove some links and cut some holes here anyway once I've posed the models. Oh yeah, that's it, mate. They're there with the iPads taking photos and stuff, and you know. No one's allowed to have the phones out, so you're not allowed to film your kids doing their races or take photos or any of that kind of stuff. I did a parents' race, but it was Willow decided literally when the whistle blew for us to go that she wasn't going to run. She tried to sit down. I'm there on the start line going, right, no, not having it. Come on. So I picked her up like a sack of potatoes and ran with her. Which, to be fair, she loved that. But I don't know. They're quite young. They're quite young for it all, I think. And it was there was a couple of kids that got like massively overwhelmed by like all the parents being there cheering them on. Yeah, you gotta feel sorry for them, you know what I mean? Yep. That's it. Yeah, you gotta do it, Onion. Oh, come on, you bugger. But yeah, she did really well. She was worried to death going to school because she was like, what if I do the egg? What if I drop the egg on the egg and spoon race? Yeah, throw it to the finish line. Where's the catcher? It's funny, I'd do that to Jacob in a heartbeat, but Willow I'm a bit more careful with. Jacob tries to ninja fight me on the trampoline and like the trampoline in our garden's set in the ground. It's like he'll be there going, Dad, come and have a ninja fight with me, come and have a ninja fight with me. And then he'll start like doing all these like little ninja moves at me and trying to knock me over. And then me being the dad, stoic stone wall, ain't moving for no one. You can get me down, fair play to you, but I'm not going to make it easy on you. Willow comes along, Dad, karate kick, push, and I'm on my back. To be honest, I've got this. This was actually Bill's idea. So he came onto one of the streams, and I've been doing it by hand, like drawing them, and it became a real chore. And he created this tool and showed me, and then I lost the one he sent me, but I recreated it. So it's basically a cylinder with a circle cut in, or it's a donut that's been elongated out. So it's still low poly, but it's slightly angled. So there's like, I don't know if you can quite see it or not, but it kind of bevels in and like rolls in on the one side. So if I just hold them onto the surface, hold click, and then just draw down, as long as I draw it in the same direction, then the thing always comes out in the same way, and they should like overlap and interweave properly, as long as I don't screw up and misplace things. But it's quite difficult to do on a round surface, so the flatter areas work fine, like this area now, but like going around this bit where it's curved, it's a bit of a headache. But you know what, even if it's like this where it looks a little bit out here now, by the time it's actually painted, by the time it's on the model and you've painted it, it looks like perfect chainmail. It's well worth the extra time and the effort to do this, because the amount of faffing around I've done trying to get other methods of chainmail to work just doesn't pay off. Never pays off. So I'd much rather spend the time doing this and getting something I know is paintable and it works. It's all about the print, isn't it? That's it. It's all about the final print. What it looks like on screen doesn't matter. You know, how it renders up is irrelevant. It's all about the painting experience. Yeah, well this is the closest I've managed to come to the effect of the traditional sculpting. That was what I was trying to emulate with the old donut mail effect, where I was sculpting it by hand. There was a video I did when I was doing the Saracen guys, my Knights of the Shield. I ended up like going delirious with the amount of chainmail I was doing, like repeating these things over and over again, and I ended up colouring them pink and doing them like donuts with sprinkles on. You know, it was an episode for sure, man. But the key thing with this is this mesh has got to extrude back into the model and be completely solid. What you don't want is the rings floating freely on front of the chainmail. So you can't just have the rings that float in front. You have to do everything. Vitamins. Do you know what? I don't, mate. There's not that much movement going on, if I'm honest. So it's all fairly kind of like low key. I'll just stop and swear occasionally, and that'll. I'll have to see if I can I'll have to see if I can find the version of him that had the armor painted as donuts. I know I've got it on video somewhere, but it's actually in the file. Hey, official lips. Yeah, it's chainmail. So basically, I've experimented with a million different ways of doing chainmail for miniatures. And the ones that use alphas and stuff are rubbish. Yeah, no worries, Kev. You take it easy, mate. You go and prep for your visit. So yes, it's one of these things where the chainmail that's like very superficial doesn't really work. Then you have to have it UV'd and unwrapped and everything else, and that's like extra processes that I don't do in my workflow because I use Dynamesh and Sculptress mode. Cheese. Yeah, no worries, Kev. Appreciate your visit, dude. And I'll get that head sorted for you, mate. Just keep reminding me though, don't let me forget. So yes, I said the chainmails, after lots of experimenting, I came up with a method similar to this, but they were all hand-drawn rings, which it was time-consuming as anything, and then when you dynameshed it, it softened out too much, and kind of customising it was tricky. Oh, I'll catch up with you later, Kev. Take it easy, mate. Anybody in the chat, Kev is referring to a sculpt of his head that features on one of my City Watch. He's asked for copies of it for a Narcissist Legion of Space Marines. So yes, Fishy, this is the solution that I've ended up with for the chainmail, or rather mail, as I'm told by Rosie. Yeah, that's it. Kev Space Marines. He wants his Marines to be in his own visage, so he's gonna have a whole legion of Space Marines with Kev's face. Oh mate, it might be fun to watch. It's a bitch to sculpt. it's just monotonous and boring. But the problem I always find is when you're doing other methods, you've got to try and join the rings, and having that. There's always like a seam line in there or something like that, which always looks really wrong to me on a chainmail. So let's just get the skeletal. Oh, well, it's done. That's it. Gonna shunt this below the. Get back to me mail brush. Oh, come on, you shit. Here we go. There we go. Perfect. See, I don't get that in like in today's kind of like kind of modern society. I find that baffling still. That kind of stuff still like exists. Although I do think a lot of time it's perpetuated online as well. We have a lot of people who kind of seem to enjoy being a victim and kind of creating the kind of situation where it doesn't exist. And I don't approve of that either, to be honest, but there's just no need for it, is there? Okay, let me grab a belt. That's what we're going to go for. That is not the correct thing. Yeah, trolling's fine. Within reason, of course. That'll do. That's what I wanted. Let's have that. Let's put that on our little dwarf matey. Bit big, but so what's brought you here today then, Fishy? You just encountered the stream, or are you a sculptor or general hobbyist? Want to see some undead dwarves? Do what? Add a banner to the shield? Right, I think I'm going to stop there with this guy. That would pretty much do for the most part of these dwarfs, I think. Oh, like, yeah, put something around it. You can put anything you like on there, really. I'm just keeping it simple because I'm going to be battering it. So what I'm going to do is, once I've posed the guy, I'm going to pose this guy into like 5 variations. In fact, no, it'll be like 10 variants. So there'll be a sword, well, axe and shield. There'll be a great axe, and then I'll do like a halberdy version, so like a pole axe, maybe like a spear or something. So we're gonna have a unit of 3 units of 5 dwarven skeletons in different like skeletal poses, with the different weapon options. And then I'll be basically busting up the armour in various different ways. So some of them I'll remove it entirely, some of them I'll just leave certain bits and I'll tatter the hell out of it. So this is just my starting point. Not any of the end models are going to end up looking like this. So this is how I typically do units if I'm gonna do them. So let me just show you as an example. So let me merge visible on this one. Okay, so I've got one. If I duplicate. So there we go. So these are the guys with the hand axe and the axe, the great axe. So I need to split the ruler out first. So hide that. Then come to the skeletal dude. So let's take here. Oh shit. Oh no, it's all right actually. Just make that one piece for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll take jaw separate. Yeah, bottom jaw separate. That's fine. Right, so I'm going to take the arm here, for example. Let's just change that side to a different poly group. Let's save it quick so I don't accidentally lose all my gear. Head indeed. Right, so I'm going to take the arm in its entirety with the hand attached to the end. Oh, you ball bag. Okay. Let's take the arm here. Let's get the arm here positioned. I think I'm gonna like that. Right, then we'll take the foot. Bloody hell. Let's try again. lose the boot on this foot, I think. So, rough pose for dwarf 1. Delete the hidden ones there. On the arm, let's take a bunch away. Hey Rich, how we doing, mate? This, mate, is a little Kickstarter project I mentioned a while back, I think, which was to do with an undead army. So what I decided was, I think necromancers are generally a little bit racist. As in, they only ever seem to raise human skeletons and human zombies. So I thought, let's address that issue. Let's put some dead dwarfs, and zombie dwarfs, and things like that into the pot instead. So I'm just doing a few dwarven skeletons to add to the legions of the dead. Again. The inclusive undead, yeah, that's what I should call it, shouldn't I? Are your necromancers a bit racist? Skeletons with beards. By virtue of the fact that all the flesh has rotted, should the beard have all not rotted as well? I mean, I'm pondering it now that you've mentioned it, because it's like... You should have at least a couple then with a bit of a beard, clinging on for dear life. Oh, you bastard. Now I've uncovered more area I need to put chainmail in. Hey, it's Riz, how you doing? Good, good, good. Just doing some diversity hires for the Undead Legion. To appease the campaign for equal heights. It's a Discworld reference if no one gets it. Certainly not. I saw a bit of a Rob Schneider thing the other day. He was he was talking. It was like one of his stand-ups. I didn't even know he did stand-up actually. He was talking about an airline had come forward and basically said that they were their primary focus going forward was going to be on hiring more diverse pilots. And he's like, "What? So like not the best pilots?" You're going to hire them in the sake of diversity. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? Where's my delete hidden button? There it is. Barbarians. You got to do nipples if you're doing barbarians. It's weird not to. They look unusual. If you sculpt any human without nipples, they just look bizarre. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. Doesn't matter. Even if they're female, if the boobs are on display, then they've got to have the nipples. It's just how it is. It's just the law. Oh, turds. I've done it again, haven't I? Balls. Yeah, that's it. Like bullets, mate. Like bullets. So it's like the orders I sent out yesterday have arrived. Get some nice positive feedback. Hey Debbie, how you doing? You enjoying the chocobo then? So guys, Debbie's just received her order from my web store, and I wasn't selling them in the store. It's not in my catalogue at the moment, but the Talarian chocobo riders. She'd requested one, and I've managed to sort one out. I think it's safe to say, I'm a very, very, very happy customer there. I'm glad you like it, Deb. There's no mine manufacturer. Oh, the ooh, God, there. So we go to my manufacturing. We go to my storefront, which is my manufacturing _users _ the Lion's Tower. And then we go to campaigns. So we got campaigns here, and you can go to the Kingdom of Talarius, and you can go to the Warlock. So the Warlock's live now. So you can pick up the commercial licenses. You can get the starter package, which is like this basic model, and then there's a few add-on packs plus the Barbarian add-on. So And then we've got the Kingdom of Telarius, which is massive still. So you get the Painters one, which is basically all the hero characters. Then we've got the full armies, so core army, which is most of the units, which is 65 quid or $65, and then 97.50 you get the full army. Yeah, that was it. It was just one model, just one mini. Was that still on there? Is that showing it? Yeah, it was, let's say, about 4,000. I can't remember what it did now. Yeah, 4,218 quid it did. So yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good for one mini as well, one model. How what works on my manufacturer, mate? The like moving it over and hosting it as a follow-up, you mean? Well, basically what it is, it's running on. So we run it on Kickstarter first, and then on my mini factory they have a campaign that you can set up in the background and use it as a pledge manager. So basically, after people have bought everything they want on Kickstarter, so Kickstarter take the money and everything else, and then pay you. You then host it on my mini factory, and you can open it up to late backers, but also anybody who's bought stuff where they want to go and pick up extra items. So let's say somebody pledged for the core pledge, but they forgot to get all their add-ons they wanted. It gives them another opportunity to go and pick up the add-ons afterwards. And obviously, if there's any add-ons that have been unlocked later on in the campaign, you can do. You can have both running at the same time. Yeah, it's just different audiences. I've not seen that where it's redirected from one to the other, but usually, like this one here now, if you click on this late backer opportunity, so this campaign has closed on Kickstarter. You can't back a Kickstarter anymore, but the page is still there. But if I click on late backer opportunities, it will take you through to the Warlock campaign on my mini factory. So anybody who finds the Kickstarter can now come to my mini factory to pick up that set. And that'll be live for another month or two, and then I'll take it offline again. So it's still a limited opportunity to pick things up. So yeah, that's it basically. It's just a mop-up exercise more than anything else. Let's go some more bloody chain links. From both the rough backer times pledge price. Well, the My Manufacturer one's done nothing at the moment. It's live, but I haven't advertised it. So there's been no sales on that one, and My Manufacturer aren't advertising it because they don't. Yeah. The numbers that are on there are just the Kickstarter numbers. So basically, the 190 odd people that are on the pledges, they've been imported from Kickstarter. So when anybody looks at the Frontiers campaign on there, it'll appear that 190 people have backed it, which is correct. But they're 190 people from Kickstarter. They're not from My Manufacturer. So My Manufacturer's done nothing on that. It's just live on there now. But the other reason for doing it as a campaign like that is when I send the files out to people for like reward distribution, Instead of having it mixed in with all the stuff that they've just randomly bought through Patreons and whatever else, it's all like the campaign gets kept separately, so it's easier for people to find and keep everything together. That makes sense. It's basically a lot of lies, isn't it? It's lies and deception and deceit and subterfuge and all that kind of good stuff. All those other good words. I mean, I think my manufacturer is due to be doing a summer sale again soon, so. But I've got my own summer sale running, so if anybody wants to pick up anything from the site, you can follow in Debbie's footsteps, get yourself something that's going to make you mega excited. And what's that? My manufacturer hasn't given last month's tribe again. What do you mean, mate? I will do. I've told him somebody bought it, so I'll let him know you're very happy with it. Did you see the beholder I sculpted yesterday on stream? I've got to show you this if you haven't seen it. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed the sculpt. There you go. This is from MikeMoans, from his Moansverse stuff. This was the female beholder called the Resplendent. Honestly, one of the weirdest things I've sculpted in an absolutely long time. So what are you after, mate? You after last month's stuff? Like the Lucinda? The big devil matriarch thing? You should definitely have that. Rolled them one though. I'll double check you're on the distribution list for it, but you should definitely have had it. I know I'm crap sometimes and I forget to send stuff out, and then my manufacturer's platform's crap, so that makes it double hard to make sure we get everybody getting the stuff. Ah, jeez. Did you ever print your Lucy miniature off? Did you get her done, Rich? I'll look forward to seeing that when it's ready. Yeah, nice one, mate. Yeah, so basically what I would do is, in those kind of situations, the original miniature would, be would cover the 450. So one version of that model would be 450. And then I would do either an hourly rate for reposes. So it would be based on the fact that, say it's going to take an hour to do a repose, and then it's going to take another, say, 2 hours to do a sculpting pass over it to just uniform it all and tie it all in. So say it's like 3 hours, so it'd be like three hours worth of time. So again, for me, so say £45 an hour. So it'd be another, what's that, 15? No, 100, about 130, 140 quid, say, for each additional variation of them. So if we look at the bandits I did the other day, so I sculpted one bandit body and I went, right, so here's like 3 variations of boots, here's 3 variations of sleeves, 3 different cuirasses, 10 different weapons and whatever. So I used the same body with different variations of the gear to come up with all of the bandits. I can't remember if you were on the stream for that or not, but let me just pull the thing up and I'll show you the different variations that kind of arrived in the end. And hopefully you'll be able to see where the different assets are. So, although I may have just done a good enough job of customizing them individually that you don't recognise the different assets. Okay, so we've got one dwarf here. And then we've got a female bandit. We've got another dwarf. This guy shares the same boots, same trousers and shirt as this guy. Sleeves are different. Wristband, that is the same wristband as that one, but without the studs. Then we've got the elf. He's got the same breastplate as this dwarf. He's got different braces on, he's got a different pair of boots, he's got different trousers and stuff, but he's got the same sleeves as that first dwarf. Another female dwarf, she's completely sculpted from scratch, so she was all unique stuff. Although she does have the sleeves and one of the braces from, I think one of the elf ones, one of the elf braces. And then we've got this guy, so he's got the same one, wrist cuff again, same as one of the elf braces. Same boots as the elf, I think, no. Same boot cuffs as the dwarf here, and then we've seen that breastplate on the cuirass on one of the dwarfs. We've seen that on one of the dwarfs, I think. That's that wrist cuff again. Boots are different for this guy, and he's got a hood. Same breastplate again, same cuirass, and we've got sleeves. We've got the same cuff again, but with some bandages added. Different pair of trousers. We've got the same boots that we had on the elf again. So we've got there's a lot of assets that are coming through that are being reused from one model to the next, being adapted and modified, but in such a way that there's a uniform look through them, but without having them actually being the same, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean that was like 6 days work to make all of those bandits. So I'd be looking to try and make, what's that now? You'd want a couple of grand at least for that amount of work. The ogre was a unique sculpt, obviously, and so was Olaf. Also, the Rich took her to D&D last night. In fact, she's been adopted by the group as a donkey we bought ages ago. The current print's been renamed Mildred. Fair enough, dude. Yeah, you'll always get the haggles. I've lost my bloody chainmail brush now. Yeah, what you been up to on it? Okay. Battle Bear's nice. I think Cyborg does a couple of them that are quite nice, you know. I approve of Battle Bears. Certainly approve of them. Giant war turtles, nice. Yeah, if you got a if you got like an ocean faring like barbarian tribe, sea turtles would be awesome. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. But do you know what you need though? You need to do, you know, Johnny Depp Pirates of the Caribbean when he says about riding two giant sea turtles like they were skis or something, like straddling two turtles and like surfing them kind of thing. You need like a crazy barbarian berserker doing that. Using them like seafaring roller skates. That's what you need. Right, the key to make these very good and undead is to rip holes in everything and have the bones showing. Lots of nicks and scratches and dents and scuffs and things like that, and good holes. And then we're going to put some dents and dinks and stuff on there. There we go. Just rip the shit out of everything. Romans riding turtles. Romans or Roman? And if Roman, who's Roman? Ah, you ballbag. Done it again, haven't I? Keep making work for myself here. Putting chainmail on with the bloody padded mail is a stupid idea. Oh, it's a thing, is it, Rich? Let me have a little look then. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, so this guy's... This but with tortoises, or turtles. Is that you doing it there, Rich? It's one of your things, is it? beat 10 bells out of this shield, and then we'll do the axe. With the shield, when you're doing like stuff like this, you want to make sure you dink and dent these sharp edges, because you don't want them to be that sharp really. Not on something that's old and rotted and corroded, and the sharp edges take away the effect a little bit. You don't want to blunt them all the way through, but just make sure you take the edge off consistent. Be sure to overlap some of them as well. Do the same to the axe. Let's give it a few dinks and divots and damage. Your metal pack. Oh, you've got some scuffs and dents and stuff. You got something you've made, have you? Or go for it, mate. Plug away. I always just tend to use dam standard and clay brush for the clay brush for mine. Again, for miniatures, it kind of does everything you need it to. And let's take some of this little bugger's teeth out. Pop a link in the Discord if you want, mate. We've got a self-promo page in there. You can pop it in there. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate it. I like to do when I do skeletons, I like to have like at least one way that they could have died. You know, when you're looking at them, I like to be able to see. So like this guy's clearly had his face cleaved in half. And I think we're going to call him done. That's like number 1 dwarf skeleton. And then we start again. Yeah, if you look at my previous set of skeletons, there's like one guy's got an arrow through his, like going through his mouth, like there's like literally the end of an arrow sticking out the mouth, and then the back of the arrow is coming out the back of his neck. Then there's another guy's got like a big busted hole open in his rib cage, so you can tell he's been like stabbed through the chest. And then there's another one that's I can't remember actually, but the same's true on the zombies. All of my zombies have got like the obvious kind of cause of death. I think one of them's even got like a dagger in the back on the zombies, like still walking around with a dagger in the back. Reginald complete onto Theobald. Let me have a gander. Oh, hang on, you're talking dwarf names, are you? Monkey, your dragon's looking good, mate. Yeah, that's what I say, man. I'm spoiled for what you call it now. For 3D prints, I can't really go back and do the old plastic kits now because it just pissed me off. Ah, I like it, mate. I like it. Yeah, you got your hammered, like your beaten metal kind of effect, and the little pitting, and the larger kind of like metal flakes and stuff like that. It's good. Yeah, definitely got some nice effects in there. I have interest. Do you sell many of them? Are they a Are they kind of are they like a popular thing to sell? So I've considered making some kind of like, oh, that's not bad then. I've considered making some kind of like assets from like the weapons and stuff I use. Not a bad shot then. I'm going to keep the breastplate on this guy. I think let's go for a... I think it's one of these things where there's a lot of people who do like Zbrush who are looking for shortcuts, aren't they, and ways of speeding up their workflows. And I say, for me, I've been doing it so long now. I still do use like the odd thing like the hand insert meshes. I use things like that, but for the most part, I just kind of sculpt intuitively using a few brushes. But there's a lot of people who'll be still trying to find, like, you know, ways to speed up the workflow or to kind of overcome shortcomings in their own like work and stuff. It's like if they're not so good at certain things, they'll supplement that by getting brushes that they think are going to help make them better. I think you'll always have a market for that kind of thing. Oh, I bought stuff because it was a bloody novelty. But yeah, I bought tons and tons and tons of alpha packs, and then I realised I can't even really use them on here. And then worse still is when I look at the work that people put out in the marketplace, and I go, oh, I recognise that fur. It's from that alpha pack. Hey, you're Alchemist, how you doing, matey? You see the fur, and it's like, that's alpha fur from such and such, and that's the chainmail texture I've seen on this one. And it's like, it just irks me, that does, man. How are we doing today, Alki? Let's give Alchemist a little shout out. What? There we go. Shout out for Alki. Mate, I spelled Alchemist Models wrong first, and it told me the channel didn't exist. It's just me being a screw up. I'm good, mate. I'm just working on a bit of a Kickstarter project at the moment, so I'm going to do a little undead army to go with the Kingdom of Talaria, so you've got something to fight with them. So I'm working on oh god, what am I working on? Undead's rewind. Skeletal dwarves, because I decided that most necromancers are horrifically racist and only ever target human casualties. So I thought we'll do a bit of a diversity hire for the undead, and we'll throw some dwarves and some elves and some orcs and stuff into the mix. So yeah, it'll be another little Kickstarter army. Skeleton zombies, we've got some undead minotaurs coming. I'm going to do the Death Tyrant, so we've got the old Undead Beholder as well. And what else have we got on my list? I've got a Draco Lich, so that'll be a job and a half. Yes, actually, I remember. Yeah, I forgot that they existed. Actually, they did actually have they were the only time that GW ever did non-human. Oh, Talarius, about 6 months, I think. The Kingdom of Talarius thing, I think it was about 6 months worth of work. What I did was I did a double release. So I released most of the stuff through the Patreon as I was going. So what I said was to Patreon backers, if you subscribe to Patreon all the way through, you won't have to back the Kickstarter because you'll get all the stuff anyway. So yeah, the Patreon people got their gear on a month-by-month release that never went into the store for general release, and then it went out on Kickstarter. So, I mean, I could just do that again, really, with the things. But so yeah, elf zombies. I've got goblin zombies, orc zombies, guard zombies, ogre zombies, zombie beholder, some mummies. Couple of liches, but I want to do Akar Kessel, who's from the Driss books, and Vecna, so good old Vecna. Couple of vampires, including Vecna's right hand man. We've got Jander Sunstar as well to make. I don't remember the undead zombies, to be honest, mate. In Mordheim. I think I only ever used the plastic ones for it because they were kind of multi-purpose, weren't they? Flesh Golem, I've got some whites. This is a massive list, by the way. I'm being wildly optimistic that I'm going to get all of this stuff done. So, I just want to try and get as much as I can. Some Banshees. I've got this big-ass list on my whiteboard in front of me saying, like, you know, there'll definitely be a commercial release for it. I want to get it done as fast as possible, if I'm honest. So I'm just going to try and get these done. I've got I don't know if you've seen the stuff, but I'm going to be bundling the stuff I've got on my web store already for it. So the stuff that's already commercially available through my website. There we go. So we've already got ghouls, we've got ghasts, we've got a set of zombies already. We've got skeletons with swords and shields, great swords, bows, and spearmen. We've got wraiths. We've got a skeleton mage. We've got a flame skull. We've got the. These are some of my favourites. They don't get enough love and attention, I don't think. But these guys, they're the original 4 heroes from Hero Quest. Literally down to the pose. I've taken the actual poses off them and everything, and I've just skelefied them. So they've got all the same gear, they've got the same equipment, they've got the same pose as their original counterparts. They're just skeletons instead of living beings. So basically, I've just spent a bit too long in the dungeons, and they're now part of the problem. So there's all those things I'm going to put into the army anyway. But then, like I say, there's 5. My plan was there's 5 like of each skeleton variant at the moment. Were they in the box as well, Rich? I still need to send you a thing, don't I? Zacnophane. Bugger. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. That was my hand cracking. My left hand went into spasm then. Ouch. Right, what post will I do this guy in? When's your show, Alki? Hip thrust. Do you know what? Now that you said it, I can't say no, can I? Why do I ask you these things, people? This is why Count Olaf ended up in Crocs. I should learn, shouldn't I? 8th of July. Nice. Is that in your neck of the woods then, or are you having to travel for that? Yeah, I know. I enjoyed it, and it felt appropriate for him. So I love a bit of Cornwall, me. I can never remember where the borders are for Cornwall and Devon now. Like we're off to a place just outside of Westwood Ho for our holidays this year. I can't even remember what it's called. It's not a place I've heard of before. Ah. Yeah, because I know we've got like beer, haven't we? And beer's Dorset, so that's a little bit the wrong way, isn't it? Yeah, no worries, mate. You crack on. Feel free to share any of your pics and post your links. So we've got the I don't know if you're in our Discord, mate, but if you want to post any links to your gear and promote your presence at the show and stuff like that, feel free to do it, mate. Oh, nice, Bonker. You're going to be joining the club, aren't you, today? Bonker gets his first 3D printer today. God, you put... I love it, mate. I think you should give him -1 to acrobatics, not +1. Oh shit, I separated all the vertebrae in the neck. God's sake. Why do I do these things? Maybe you're right, Rich. If it was easy, it wouldn't be fun, would it? So, have you got anything to print when it arrives in Bunker, or you you're gonna play it by ear? What's that then, mate? Yeah, I think I was trying to. I might not use that right now, just because I was trying not to be quite so silly with them. I don't mind them to have the what do you call it? I don't mind them having like a little bit of fun and games with the old pose and stuff like that. Like my favourite one. One of my favourite skeletal poses is the guy with the great sword. I'll show you. That guy. So he's. Oh, cheers, bunk. I'll square you a few away, mate. Because you want something you can guarantee to print, so I'll sort you out some stuff. I'll send you over the Town Watch set as well, the City Watch, so you can get a print yourself ready to rock. But I'll get you some files squared up, mate. Yeah, I've got quite a few silly ones in there, haven't I? Actually. I don't mind, mate. I want to make sure your introduction to the 3D printing hobby goes smoothly. So stuff that I've printed myself and tested and made sure it works and stuff like that. At least you know you're in for a good run with it. You know what I mean? I mean, Lord knows you helped me out enough, mate. If you don't deserve it, who does? What you don't want to do, mate, is go out there and get some Loot Studios nonsense where the supports are just appalling, and you know, think the problems are down to you. I wonder how many people have kind of given up on 3D printing as a hobby because they can't get it to work, or they're struggling with it because they've had bad experiences with poorly supported models and not realised that that was the issue. It's one of the issues with using pre-supports exclusively. Actually, is you don't ever learn to fix them yourself. Thank you for saying so, Rich. Yeah, there is that as well. Things that just dissolve and fall apart. Oh, speaking of dissolve and fall apart, I've switched up to using oh, what do you call it now? Methylated spirits for the final clean on the models. And there's been times where I've left models in the isopropyl for like a couple of hours, and I've come back and they'll be a little bit soft, but by the time they fully dry out and stuff like that, they're back to normal. They're fine. Bloody hell, methylated spirits is unforgiving, man. If you leave something in there and forget about it, it peels apart. Like I had a model in there the other day, and I literally, it was about 4 models I'd printed and I put in there to clean up, and I came back and it just started coming coming to pieces in my hand. Like, you know, bits of the model were just falling off, and I'm like, what? These like straight lines that are clearly where the layers are. It just bloody delaminated my layers. I'm like, what the hell? And I actually think methylated spirit smells more than isopropyl when it's like fresh. It's got, I think it just doesn't linger as bad. Like I haven't walked into my office and gone, oh bloody hell, it smells of methylated spirits in here. But you do walk in and go, Jesus, the isopropyl's strong today. You know what I mean? It's like, weathered statue. They're good for nothing, aren't they? It's like, honestly, I never expected it. I never expected it to go like that. I had similar things going on years ago when I tried out. There's a company called 3DRS, I think they're called, 3D Resin Solutions, I think, and they make a resin called Hero Resin. And a couple of years ago, they were singing from the rooftops about how good this stuff was. And my mate Alex at his Juto contacted them and he got some samples through. And he came up and he met up with me and he sat down and handed a load over and said, "Yeah, I'll give this a go and see what you think. And here's a couple of bottles for you to use as competition giveaway prizes." Oh, sweet. So I used the resin. I had no word of a lie. I could not get this stuff to print. Like the print quality came out beautiful, but every single time, if I so much as showed it isopropyl, it delaminated the model. Like literally uncoiled it like a spring. And it didn't matter whether I left it in for a minute or 20 minutes or whatever else. I got the same effect. I had the same result. And these models peeled apart and flaked up, and they'd never seen it before. I don't know if it was a bad batch or whatever else, but obviously he'd had it shipped over from America. We can't even get it in the UK, this stuff. They don't have a UK supplier for it, so. But I'd like to give it, in fact it wasn't Hero Resin, it was the Sidekick Resin, which is what they made as a second thing. Hero Resin was their main product, and this was Sidekick, this one was. But yeah, it wasn't a great printing experience. It definitely left a taste in my mouth, that one did. It was not good. And that was the last time I saw effects like that, and now I've got it again, it's like, what the hell? Yeah, a lot of people said that about the Elegoo stuff. I used the Elegoo water washable for ages. They actually use my Barbarian miniature as to advertise that on Amazon, with my permission, of course. Like, but yeah, they've you'll see my old cleric model on there as well sometimes. But it was it's never been a problem for me, the water washable stuff hasn't. But loads of people have slagged that off, saying it was it caused them problems and they had issues with it. Don't look right, does it? Looks like a skeleton that's just falling backwards. I might have to change it up. It would be appropriate for a dwarf, wouldn't it, to be fair? Ah, yeah. Okay. Which one's the Elegoo Clear Blue, is it? Honestly, I will always recommend Frozen Aqua 4K. Frozen Aqua 4K resin is just the nuts, man. As far as miniatures go, you'll get fantastic quality with it. Soraya Tech Fast Navy Grey, also a beautiful resin, super thin, but it is brittle. You need to add something to it to kind of stop it from being brittle. And I think the Soraya Tenacious, I think, is supposed to be quite good for that, or Soraya Tech Blue. Use like 10% of that in with the mix. It should counteract all of the dramas. Oh God's sake, come on. But yeah, I've got all my resins here anyway to do my resin test with soon, so I'll get on with that at some point. That'll be an interesting one. So how do you rate Sunnu for quality, for detail and stuff? If you compare it to the models you had off me at the Chilcon, mate, how is it in terms of detail? Right, got ya. So you're still on Mars, mate. You're not upgraded yet. Yeah, I think you get a slightly different thing going on, don't you? When you get up to like the 4K printers, when you go from 2K to 4K, the resin makes a bit more of a difference. I think when you're trying to get that finer resolution and the sharper edges and stuff. Oh yeah. Star Wars Shatterpoint. Everyone's on that, aren't they, at the moment? Seems to be a really popular game. Oh yeah, that'd be handy, mate. Yeah, be good to see. Cheers for that, dude. Let's take his belt off altogether. Oh, nice. Print all right? Which one did you print? The static version or the? I've been printing a few of them off myself actually, because we've had a few customer orders where I think you can tell the customers playing through Descent into Avernus. They're literally ordering like full character packs. I've got one guy who's literally ordered everything I've ever made from Descent into Avernus as well. Ah, good shout. Yeah, he's got that look about him, hasn't he? I think Devious Priest could describe him quite nicely. When you meet him in Descent into Avernus, he's actually a he's a spy from, I want to say from Kalimshan, but it could be from somewhere else. I can't remember. But yeah, he's a spy who's he's there to kind of to fight with you. You can use them as an ally if you can keep them alive long enough. It's one of your NPCs. I'm glad you finally got some use out of them, Rich. I love hearing what you guys are doing with the models. Actually, it's always nice to see them getting some use and seeing how they're used and that. What there is melee. Do you know what, mate? It's actually one of my favourite things about this whole business is like seeing how people kind of actually interact with them and use them. So whether they're using them as armies or they put them as NPCs or they're just painting them or whatever else, I actually do just love seeing, you know, what becomes of them. I think they're looking pretty badass, these guys. What do you reckon? Let's try and find some skelly poses so I can get some ideas. I don't think it's too late to do it because Descent into Avernus has been around longer than Curse of Strahd, and I'm still picking up on that one. But what I'd say is, I know Titan Troll Dave Whitaker's done a load of Curse of Strahd minis, and he's done a really good job on them. And he's been doing that for about as long as I've been doing Descent into Avernus, so I think you'll be fine. You'll be fine doing it, but you've got to kind of understand your competition on it. So as long as you can do something with either a different flavour or a different style to what he does. So it's Titan Troll on MMF. I'll show you. In fact, I think he advertises his whole Patreon as Curse of Strahd at the moment. There you go, look, see? So he's got his like, he's got all like the vampires and there you go. He's literally listing them out of the set. He's working for NPCs and different kind of things. But Dave's got he's doing quite well out of the whole tribe and Patreon type thing. So he's essentially going down the route of he's hired a concept artist to work with him full time, I believe. So he's got a guy concepting for him while he just knocks out the sculpts in a kind of a no kind of like brain engagement kind of fashion where he doesn't have to think about it all. Oh shit, that's gonna haunt me, that is, isn't it now? God, why did I do that? So yeah, give it a go. Don't shy away from it. But like I said, just be aware that other people are doing stuff as well, and it's quite well received. So make yours stand out, if that makes sense. The Feywilds are they're here already, Bunker. Let's get some unboxing videos and some photos in the Discord, dude. I'll see your happy little face with it. But yeah, you might want to have a look at some of the other campaigns and stuff like that. You got Icewind Dale, is another good one. I mean, one I'd planned to do, and I'm not going to do it directly, but I'm going to do it. I am going to do it at some point, but I'm going to do it because I've got all the stuff to support it already. Was the what do you call it? Lost Mines of Pendelver. Now I know that one's been done loads of times, so there's loads of people who've done that. But the cheers, dude. The Lost Mines of Pendelver is the starter campaign for D&D. Do you know, I just had an idea actually. If you haven't started and you haven't built a range up yet, you could always hit Pathfinder, you know. Because there was a big dissent, wasn't there, recently around D&D when they changed up their licensing conditions that was going to screw a load of people over. And a lot of people who were playing D&D kind of moved over to Pathfinder. So Pathfinder could be a good alternative that hasn't already got a saturated market out there for minis. Might be worth a look. Mythic Odysseys as well. Mythic Odysseys of Theros. That's the D&D campaign around like the ancient Greek styling and the Greek aesthetic. Yeah, Kingmaker, something like that. Yeah. I mean, what I would say is, so when I did Descent into Avernus, I went through and I literally page by page went, right, for this scene you need these models, for this scene you need these models, for this scene you need these models. And what I'm going to do at some point is I'm going to bring them all together in a Kickstarter campaign, and what I'll be providing is a kind of a matrix, if you like. So for Dungeon Masters, like for this, on this page, for this part of the quest, in this room, because they're all coded or whatever, you click it and then do the thing. It'll be the same as D&D, mate. As long as you don't use their artwork directly, so don't sculpt things that they've created specifically, you know, like from their art. So don't do. Although as I say this, there are people making Pathfinder goblins in the Pathfinder goblin style, so you know, just don't use their actual artwork. So again, for me, I'll read the design. I'll read the brief when they introduce a character, and I'll kind of go, right. So I need like Captain Zodge, for example. Let me show you my version of Captain Zodge. That's mercenary, isn't it? Mercenary. Right, here we go. So this one, Captain Zbrush. So when this guy gets introduced to you, all you get is a description. So it tells you he uses the stat line for a veteran, and a veteran's wearing splint mail and carrying a long sword. So I've given him splint mail and I've given him a long sword. And then when they introduce him in the campaign, he's there in like the hook, and you get a description of him that says Captain Zbrush, a tall man with long black hair and a leather eye patch. That's it, that's all you get. But I know he's a veteran wearing splint mail and carrying a long sword, so combine all of that information. And then there's a little bit more as you go on, and it kind of gives you a little bit extra information. So he lacks common decency, but cares for the well-being of soldiers in his command. But yeah, there's no more description. You don't get any more description. You get some dialogue from him, but you don't get anything else. So I'm kind of going, right, I'll take that description and I'll create my own version of him. So if you Google, in fact, let's have a quick check and we'll see what the actual, what was the official. So if we look at the images here, there's, I mean, I don't think any. I think that was probably the closest to the official one. There's no actual picture of him in the book or anything like that, so he doesn't feature. But yeah, just steer clear a little bit of, let's say, just directly copying. I called him Captain Z. Literally Captain ZED. And then every time I use a character with a name, I'll use a name that's similar but different, just so you can draw a parallel to the one you're trying to find. But when I do the Kickstarter thing, Captain Posh. When I do the Kickstarter campaign, what I'll probably do is I'll say, right, these are the characters you need, and these are my these are the appropriate characters to use for that person. But I'll probably do it in chapters, because the like Avernus chapter 1 is all in Baldur's Gate, and then chapter 2 is into Elturel, which is the bit I'm working on at the moment, so there's a few extra bits and bobs going on. But right, guys, I'm just going to put you on a quick pause for a minute. I'm going to go and pop to Lou and grab myself a fresh coffee, and I'll be back in a little bit. This is going to take me absolutely bloody ages. So the Kickstarter for the Descent into Avernus stuff, when I pull that one together, that'll be a relatively easy one, because I've done most of it already. Cheers, Bunker. I've done most of that already, so I would say the discount code at the moment is superseded by a 30% discount that's already applied to the orders in store. So anything you try and order in store at the moment is going to come up with a 30% discount at checkout, whether you're using a code or not. So I don't think that 25% discount is actually going to be usable right now. But yeah, Kickstarter sculpting wise, so the undead stuff, I mean, skeletons are quite easy to pose because you haven't got to worry too much about sculptage and stuff like that. They're obviously all bones, aren't they? Zombies will be a bit trickier. The Draco Lich is going to be a bitch. That's going to be hard work. And then the whites. Whites are just more armoured skeletons. Vampires and liches and stuff like that will pose a little bit more of a challenge, I think. But for the most part, I think most stuff should be good. Yeah, it's just going to be keeping them going and getting on top of them, I think. So yeah, I just have to see how it goes. I think and just try and get as much as I can done. And then at some point I'll have to draw a line under it and say, actually, I think I've done enough to get the Kickstarter going. Let's do it. But yeah, I'm going to pop you on a BRB. I'll be back in a second, guys, and don't go away. Okay? See you in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back in. Got chicken roasting in the oven now. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's pose this bugger first and then I'll deal with chainmail. Things like chainmail, you never want to mess around with too much if you haven't posed the model. Alright, this one I'm going to put a hood on him, I think. Right then, so looking at skeleton poses didn't help me. Because people seem to pose skeletons like they're normal human warriors, which feels wrong to me. Almost every single skeleton I'm looking at online that other people have made are in just standard human combat poses, like they've just taken a normal pose and just used it, and that don't work, does it? They don't feel shambling then. Okay, let's try. Hey Nana Kitty, how you doing? Welcome to the stream today. Ah, you bugger. What brings you here today? Are you looking for somebody to keep you company? Do you want to learn a bit about the sculpting? Did the Undead dwarves catch your fancy? Ah, right. Fair enough then. In that case, what is it you're working on? And let me see if I can talk you through some fixes. Well, I will say, if you've got miniatures that are, sorry, if you've got models that are like 3D minis from like something like Dad's 3D or one of these other kind of 3D packages, they're not designed for 3D printing, which obviously you figured out that. But the trying to make them 3D printable in a lot of cases is more work, more effort than it's worth. It really depends what you're trying to get out of it, I suppose. But either way, thank you for joining today. And do feel free to ask absolutely anything you want, okay? Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough then. Oh, got you. That makes more sense to me now then. So you're talking about the little digital avatars that sit in the corner and talk, like they move the mouth and animate whilst you speak, kind of thing. That kind of stuff, yeah. Pretty cool. So what is it you're struggling with? If you're not able, have you not been able to do it yet? Is there a specific thing that you're struggling with? I mean, the main thing I think is going to be making sure that you've... Oh wow. Technology is amazing, isn't it, sometimes? Scary like, but amazing. You know, like just for 3D printing, you mean? I mean, if you use Zbrush, I literally just dynamesh everything together. So after making the model here, the next step is going to be actually kind of merging all the files. So I'll take like these guys here now, and you'll see every single different colour on here is a different poly group. And all I'll do is I'll just turn groups off and I'll just dynamesh the whole model. And then once that whole model is dynameshed, then it's quite a simple, straightforward thing. Then it's already one complete model, solid mesh. You don't really need to worry about doing anything else with it. Oh, for God's sake, again. Just merge the hands together, shouldn't I? Yeah, just print it all as one piece. Don't even bother trying to multi-part it. I mean, it depends how big you want to do it, but as long as it'll fit on a build plate, just keep it as one piece. Honestly, what I found is people don't even know how to glue models together. Like they're literally like, what kind of glue do I use? It's like, it seems a ridiculous question to me because it's such an obvious answer, but people don't all have that same kind of level of understanding of things. So the easier you can make it for them, the better. And obviously, if it's all one piece, it's more robust then, isn't it? But I mean, with these ones being miniatures, they're 32mm like scale. So I'll get about 12 of these on one build plate. But if you're looking at if you're looking at doing like larger pieces, I mean, even up to about 100mm, you can still get that as a single piece. The only reason I'd separate pieces off if I wanted to have options. So say if you wanted to give the customer an option of having like a different weapon, for example, or different hand, different arm, or whatever. If you want to go down that route, then yeah, absolutely separate the hands off and have them as an option. But are you using Zbrush? What software are you using? I think one of the things you're going to have to try and get your head around to start with is going to be the shell. So you're going to have to figure out how to make a single unified shell out of whatever it is you're making. The second thing will be your Boolean operations. So how do you remove one piece of mesh from another? I can show you in Zbrush, but obviously it's I can show you the principles of what you need, but then obviously it's taking it into practice. That's going to be a little bit different then. Thank you very much. Cheers, Bunker. Saving me bacon. Okay. I mean, I've used Blender. I'm not familiar with Houdini, and I've never used Substance Designer. Better. So I'm just going to do this quick because it's annoying. I mean, I have to say, I'd be interested in seeing your process for what it is you normally do, actually, because that's not That's not like something I've ever kind of really dabbled in. It'd be an interesting thing to try and like see what goes into doing that kind of thing. Because I think it'd be quite nice to like partially animate some of these models for adverts and stuff, to be honest. So it's crossed my mind occasionally, you know what I mean? Cheers, Bunker. Thanks for the time shout, mate. Bedtime? No worries, mate. You take it easy. We'll have a catch up another time, okay? Have fun anyway, and I'll speak to you again soon, man. No worries. Always happy to help. Catch you later, man. Yep, I feel you there. Absolutely get that one. Oh, right, so it's Unity where you're doing like the animation part, is it? Like the rigging and everything's happening there, is it? I know you're rigging them in Blender, aren't you? I mean, what do you use Unity for then? Is that Unity just for? Is that your like your render engine? Is that for your like your light shading and all that kind of stuff? Oh, okay. You do animation, it's you usually do it in Blender and then render it the custom Blender version. Okay. What is that like? You got a special rig that you've made up, have you, for your lighting and stuff? Hidden there. We're going to auto group here. Oh, what's gone none? Well, Nana, if you want to join our Discord server, feel free to post any links to your work and post any kind of like self promo type stuff in there. Thank you, Bunker. And if you need any help, you just post a question up in the sculpting and modelling thing, and then tag me in it, and I can always have a little look and see if I can offer some advice. Always happy to help wherever I can. Welcome to the server. Oh yeah, no worries. I mean, you can post whatever you like in the server. I won't clip it, but obviously if your customers and clients and stuff have got restrictions on what you're allowed to post, that's fine. I've got a bit filled there. It ain't gonna like that. There's gonna be a big gap behind the hip bones, so let's get that bit filled in. Let's save this and let's get stuck back into some chain mailing. Oh, nice. That one's badass, man. That's fantastic. And they didn't go for that. What did they go for? Well, that is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, more donuts, mate, unfortunately. Why don't I just give him cloth armour? What? Why do I do it to myself? I mean, is a skeleton could be fucking naked? Oh, right, oh, fair enough. Remember something less sci-fi then. They wanted the low tech option. I don't know why it took so long to say low tech then. Yeah, the main thing you're going to have to consider when you're trying to convert your stuff there into printable stuff is the thicknesses. You've got like 5 well, for most things you want to try and get about a minimum thickness of 1 millimeter. So whatever it is you're trying to print, if you can kind of maintain that as a baseline, it'll stand you in quite good stead. It's not always easy, and when you're dealing with stuff that's not been designed for that purpose as well, when you've been considering animation stuff, that can make it a lot more difficult, or at least more difficult to get good results with. Depends what you mean by high detail. So you can get a lot of detail into a small model, but you won't be able to paint it. So if it's very small, very superficial details, you need to really kind of like, you'll have to do like a detail enhancement pass. So like say for example chainmail, like this chainmail is obviously ridiculous. This is like donuts. But the reason it's like this is because when it prints as a 3D printed miniature and we paint it, this is what's going to paint well. If I go smaller on the rings or more shallow with the rings, so they look more realistic on the screen, then it doesn't work as a miniature. So you have to play a bit of a balancing game. The ridge on the shield here, for example, would be ridiculous. That shield thickness is crazy in real life, but for a miniature where we want this ridge to be defined, we want this edge to be paintable, we want the shadows and the ink shades and stuff to sit in the creases here, and we want all the things to be defined, then you need to go that little bit thicker and that little bit more exaggerated. So it's stylising it, and what you're doing, you're stylising in the opposite way. You're kind of going thin and small and dainty and delicate because you're doing that kind of the anime style. So like the little wrists, little hands, skinny necks and things like that. Big wispy hair bits. And all of that stuff is the enemy of 3D printing, essentially. So what you need to do is you need to go in and you'll have to thicken up all your panel lines on your armours and stuff, and you'll have to like deepen any kind of like areas where you want the physical what do you call it, you want like different layers to be visible and pronounced. You need them to be significantly separated in height on a model. So it can be quite difficult to get certain things to look good. So what you'd need to do is probably do your best estimate. So get somewhere where you think it's in the ballpark of what you're after. And then print it and check it. So when you check the model, you're looking for all these, that all of the parts on the model are as defined and distinct as you expect them to be. What you'll find is some details can be so small and superficial. I mean, let me have a little look at the one that you've done again in terms of printability alone. So here on the guns you find you won't have an issue with the guns. So the band round the head obviously is floating. I imagine it's not connected, so you'll need to make sure everything that's floating needs to be connected. That might cause you problems. Because obviously you can't just have things floating in midair. There has to be some kind of physical connection. So down here on the legs, so at 32mm scale, I think you'll have an issue with the little panel lines and the little superficial details on the legs here or on knee joints. These blades here I think will be a bit too thin. You probably have to thicken them up a touch. And then obviously the fact that she's the only point of the only point of the model touching the ground are these two little points. Doesn't matter when you're doing a render, but when you're trying to do a physical miniature, that she's just going to tip over all the time, and all of the weight of this model is going to be hinging on these two little pins. They're just going to snap off. So the leg's going to need to be robust. You probably want to put a clear plastic flying base or something on. So I would potentially say with her you would want some kind of like a transparent acrylic rod or something like that. Probably coming down from her hair at the back to give her some support. The details here, the little armour parts on the body potentially are too thin in terms of not pronounced enough. So you might need to just go and like inflate them, make them a bit thicker so that they stand off the body a little bit more, so that they're noticeable in the miniature. And the clothes, the edge of the clothes as well, where you've got like the ridge there. If you see what I've done on the skeleton, not that one, let me show you the template one I've done. So here, let me just show you just this. In fact, here's a bad example. Let's just show you this guy instead. So here, the jerkin we've got here, the ridge lines around the outside, I've literally just brushed them straight on. You can see how thick and pronounced they are, and that's kind of what you need for them to actually show up and be defined and pronounced on the models. That's not the right one, is it? This one? Yeah. Yeah, and this is the thing. That I've had this a couple of times where people have taken taken characters from video games, and they use like software rips or whatever, where they can pull the thing straight out of the game, and then they want to go and print it, and you can't really do it. You have to. If it's made for one purpose, it's only really usable for one purpose. So you'd need to redesign it to be made for printing, which might be more work than you want to be doing. In honesty. I've done it a few times where you're like, well, this is literally like, I might as well sculpt the whole thing from scratch with the amount of extra work it's taken to do stuff. But yeah, sometimes modifying it just doesn't kind of cut the mustard, if you like, you know what I mean? Yeah, and this is the thing, you'll either put a load of extra work in at the front end to build the thing from scratch in a manner that is appropriate and usable, or you end up putting all the extra work in at the back end to try and make something that wasn't usable. And by the time you've done the latter, you'd have been better off just doing it the first way around and just kind of biting the bullet on it. And you know, it's crap sometimes. You know, you don't want to be going through all of that kind of stuff, but it's just easier at times to just do it that way. Just take the hit and just say, right, you know what, I've got to do it. Let's just do it properly the first time round. One of my clients asked me to do a helmet from one of the models I made him. It's Chris from Cursed Empire, and he wanted one of these, like it was like a Greek style legionnaire, like a Spartan type helmet from one of the models I've made, and he wanted it made as a life-size prop. And again, it doesn't really work. You can't really just take a miniature, blow it up to life size, and you know, make it wearable. There's a whole load of processes that would need to be happening. And even actually, you know, let's talk virtual tabletop. He wanted a load of stuff done for a virtual tabletop like release, and he wanted me to do the models in colour. And what that basically means is for miniatures, they're yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, you can do them digitally, you can sculpt them digitally, but you just need to make sure that you're just making the allowances for it. But again, you don't want to be. You could include them in the original design of the model, but then you're probably compromising your design aesthetic a little bit. You just need to do what's going to work for you, and what the primary use is probably the most important. Do you know what I mean? I mean, from your side of things, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just going to be a case of what works. And then obviously when you're talking with 3D printed models as well, I mean, they are going to be affected by sunlight. If you put any kind of like resin in front of a window, it's going to go brittle and possibly discolour. If you're using clear resins, it might discolour. So whatever you do, you're going to need to use like a UV protecting, a UV resistant paint coating to finish it with. So it could be that you paint the model, or it could be that you use like a clear coat that's slightly UV resistant. That's a bit far out, isn't it? Let's just do an auto group. Let's remove some of these rings. Yeah, I get you. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get it with it. Any plasticky type things are always going to have issues with sunlight, but the clear coat's got to be you know, a good option no matter what, I think then. But especially if you use any clear resins for anything. So I think a lot of your designs there look, I'll say a lot of your designs, I've only seen one of them, but where you've got all like the wings and everything like that, I would suggest you'd probably be quite good to use almost like create a sub-skeleton that you could put between them using a clear resin that you could kind of place all the components on. Almost like a dolly or something like that, like, you know, a stand that you can use. You'd need to engineer something like that with it and then print that in a clear material so it's less visible and less obtrusive to the end result. Or you sculpt some kind of like effects, like I sometimes do, like spell effects and things. Let's just do some dinking up and damage on the shield and stuff now. Yeah, because anytime you've got anything that's like free floating, I get it all the time. Like, you get concepts where you've got like characters where they've got like, you know, magic effects going on that are like floating in the air around them. At some point, that spell effect's got to connect back to the model, back to the base, because you literally just can't have anything floating in the air. So to connect it back in, you're gonna have to do something. So whether you either build a little stand and give it a support, like again as a demonstration I'll just show you. There was the one I did for Mike on yesterday's stream, which the Resplendent. So here, so this hand is kind of like detached from the body. It's like a free floating thing. The whole head, the whole beholder, is also supposed to be free floating. So what I did was I created the stand here, which is just like a cone, an elongated cone to go up into the body. So that'll give the body some support. And the hand here is hollow. So what I've done is I've also added this like curved. Well, I basically cloned that and then curved it round, like a curved cone to come up to the front to position the hand in the right place. Now I've coloured it black here, but ideally that would be clear. So I'd be looking to print that in a kind of a clear resin, so that these elements still look like they're floating. So again, anything you do that's going to have you know, have to be floating around, you need something like that. The alternative is like I did some spell. Let me find my magic weapons. Spirit weapons are called. So here's another option. So I had to do this spirit weapon, a spirit scythe. So the scythe is like floating around. We've got some gauntlets, we've got an axe and a sword. So all of these weapons are supposed to be just flying. Obviously you can't just have a flying weapon, you need some other things. So I've put these like little wispy spell effects on there to like wrap around and give it some kind of body and whatever, and then you can paint that up as like a spell effect, give it a bit of colouring and shading and whatever else. But yeah, it just helps to kind of give the illusion that they're flying without having anything you know, too physical kind of anchoring them down. It's still hard work, like, but it's less difficult to try and like keep them in one piece. And it helps to sell the illusion a little bit, you know what I mean? So rip the end of his shoe off. Cheers, matey. Yeah, I'm going to clock it off in a sec, I think. Pretty sure Haley will be back in the house with the kids about now. I need to go and finish prepping dinner because I chucked a chicken in but I haven't done nothing to go with it. Yeah, I don't know what we're having with it. I've got to wing that yet. See what I can run past the kids. I had mashed potato with dinner last night, so possibly some kind of salad thing, maybe a bit of pasta. Noodles sounds good to me. I would definitely go for noodles. I'm seeing the old poached egg on ramen a lot lately, and I thought I'd give it a go myself. So I had one the other day and I cooked it up and chucked a poached egg and some spring onions in there. It was absolutely delicious. And then I thought, the next time I came around to try it, I thought, I haven't got the time really to faff around poaching the egg separately, so I'm just going to try cooking the noodles. I'm going to crack the egg straight in there, cover it with a lid, steam it up, cook the egg in the thing. Didn't work at all. The egg went like leather. Yeah, the egg just went leathery and horrible. The yolk was overcooked. It didn't have the nice gooiness or runniness that I like, but it was a disappointing one, that was. Lessons learned, though. I've never even thought of doing anything like that. Well, I'll be honest, when we do ramen noodles, they're the really cheap packet stuff. And I'll just throw the extra bits in there to make it feel like I'm eating a meal. Funny enough, that we have we don't have them. The kids go around to my mum's house and they have the noodles a lot when they go there. It got to the point where like they're nicknamed a nanny noodle. Yeah, totally. I lived off the stuff I did when I was a kid. Still like them now. No chainmail on the next one. I'm going to leave it off. Bring the armour here so it touches the bone a bit more. Okay, there we go. Well, so that's 3 skellies. 3 dwarven skellies. Out of the set of 5 I need to make for these ones. Take the floor out, try again. Yeah, pretty happy with them. Let's give the next one the jerkin, I think. Paddy jerkin. We'll do give him a jerkin and a hood, I think. Yeah, we'll do a little hood on him. And then one more I need to figure out. I'm not sure what to do with him. What I'll probably do is when I come to do the next few variants as well, I'll probably come back to these guys. Use the poses that I've already created. Give them a bit of a mix up, so I'll change the legs around, maybe mirror the poses and things, and then I'll use the arm, adjust the arms up and give them the like great weapons. So we've got the double-headed axe, which is going to kind of go on there as a bigger weapon for him. And then I need to do some kind of like pole weapon, so I'll probably just give him a spear. I was thinking halberd, but I'll probably just go for a spear with him. And then that's them done then. That'll be 5 of them. 5 of these guys. 5 elf versions as well. Oh, I'm going to do a set of these with crossbows too. I've already got the human ones ready for crossbow poses. Where is he now? Just that one, isn't it? This guy here. So we're going to do some human crossbowmen. We've got the dwarf ones, and I've got to make base for some orcs. But I need to decide what my orcs are looking like first, because I haven't really got the orc aesthetic down just yet. Goblins might be easier. Thank you, Nana. Okay then guys, I'm going to clock off because kids are home and I need to go and sort dinner out and whatnot. So bear with me 1 second while I just save my file. And do you know what? If you got pics of the new ones, if they've got the new swampy ones, maybe have a little look at them. They might be a good starting point. I've got a rough idea what I was going to do. I was going to give them more tusks than anything else, but we'll see. Well, I haven't got many guys on stream, so I'm not going to raid out actually today. I'm just going to log off and say thank you all for joining me. You're welcome, Nana. If you need anything else, feel free to message me on the Discord. I say if you don't want to put anything in the public chats and stuff like that, if you want to ask me anything, just feel free to send it through on a DM, and it's all hush hush. And yeah, thank you all, and I should be back tomorrow afternoon again for another stream. Jacob's Sports Day in the morning, and then I'll be back on carrying on with these guys. So thank you all again, and I'll catch you later. So I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, and Bunker, good luck with your printer. If you need any help, hit me up on a message, okay, mate? Right, cheers all, and later, taters.